So you'll see here we have our finished baked tart shell. We have an opportunity here to put a wonderful ganache. Now, you already saw the first video on ganache. In this case, this is a little bit more complex. What I was leading to when I was talking about putting some glucose and butter and things of that nature. And as you move further in the program, you'll have a chance to look at confections and chocolates in a whole nother light rather than just the plain old ganache that I showed you the other day. So we're going to start with a pot on the stove here. And we're going to add some glucose or corn syrup. In this case, we're going to be using the corn syrup that I sent home with you. It's a little bit thinner, a little bit sweeter than glucose, but it will work for what we're trying to do here, which is basically doctoring up the sugars that are in the chocolate. We want them to stay pliable and soft. Salt, a little pinch there, plus. And then more importantly, some of our infusion or flavor. So I've got an orange here, and this is our microplane. You've got one of these in your kit. We're going to infuse some nice orange flavor into our ganache. As little or as much as you want. I don't typically go over 1 orange for this process. Okay. Set that aside. And we're going to let this come to a boil. Once this comes to a boil, we'll be pouring it over our chocolate, and of course, we're going to let that sit for about 3 to 4 minutes until it is good and set. We won't be using the whisk. We'll be using the rubber spatula to go ahead and bring that emulsion together. And once the emulsion is there, then we're going to add some room temperature butter to it, and that's going to give that nice luscious taste. All right, so here we go. So we're going to let that sit for about 5 minutes, and we'll come back to that and give it a stir. So here we are. We've got our time has gone by for us, which is good. And as soon as I start to stir this, nice emulsion starts to form almost immediately. This is beautiful. This is a good thing. And then while my emulsion is starting to form, I can make sure my butter's ready. So I'm going to add this butter in. Little bits at a time. Once that's all in, we'll talk about the second part of the emulsion. All right, so we've got all of our butter in here. Once the butter's all in, if there's still some chunks there, because sometimes when this is a small amount, this might be an issue, but you don't want to grab the whisk, because when you grab the whisk, it's going to cause a problem. So you can use one of your immersion blenders. Make sure it's buried. That's usually the key. And this will make sure we've got that nice emulsion and that butter's all worked in. Look at how shiny that gets. And it takes all those last little pieces of butter and blends it right in. And there we go. Now, any bubbles that are on the surface right now will be easily removed. A little swirl action, and you can even hit that with a warm torch, and that'll help. So we've got our tart shell here. It's baked. We're going to take this, we're going to pour that ganache straight in to that tart shell. We're going to put this in the fridge for a little bit, and once that ganache sets up, we'll talk about garnishing. All right, so our chocolate l'orange tart, or chocolate orange tart, has been sitting in the fridge just to kind of set up. You can also just let it sit at room temperature. It's fine on the counter. But we're going to go ahead and score this up just so I have my scored lines of how many pieces I have here. I'm going to go 12. So you'll notice I first did 4, and then those are going to get cut into thirds. Okay. And then I'm going to come in, I've got some chocolate mousse here. I'm going to actually come in and give it a little twist over each one. Just 2, it's a little shell. French tips are kind of nice. They allow you to really put some extra textures and depth in everything you pipe. In your kit you have a normal star tip, but I would say that doing the French tip will be nice. Alright, so we've got some of our oranges. It is a chocolate orange tart, so why not go ahead and put oranges onto that tart. And we'll work our way all the way around. Also, we have some chocolate sticks here, so we could do some garnish. And at home, feel free to do whatever garnish you want. I was just gonna go ahead and do a couple of pieces that we had sitting around here, just to kind of pretty that up. And as you can see, we'll go ahead and have some fun with it, enjoy. You would serve this technically at room temperature. You do not need to refrigerate this. And then of course the removal from the bottom. So I usually use a knife, and I want to go ahead and just make sure that that's going to slide off. We can go ahead and slide this right onto a cake board, onto a surface. So that way we're ready to go ahead and serve this. Let's pull a slice out and see what we got here. Once again, wipe the knife before each cut. Now, I know a lot of people, when they see this, they go, wow, it's such a small piece of tart. Well, let me tell you folks, that's got a lot of punch. It's a lot of deep, rich chocolate. So enjoy.